Hi, gorgeous Taurus. Welcome to your March reading. I hope February treated you very well. I know it was kind of a prep month, and it's interesting as I was looking through the energies for, cards are being weird here already. As I was looking through the energies for March and just looking at what's going on, there's a lot happening. I was realizing you are continuing to get some prep work done before your birthday season. I know we're kind of far out from it yet. You know, we're not quite there yet, but we're getting close, right? And here's what's interesting. You know, by the end of the month, we're getting into your 12th house energy, which is Aries, right? And the note that came up for me was there's a theme here about getting real with what you can give, why you're giving it, and how it feels to give those things, and where you are refining your understanding of why you're giving that. Now, why I'm kind of saying that, feeling that out for you, is we have a full moon in your 5th house in Virgo on the 1st of the month. And that's highlighting, you know, your creative, romantic side, right? It's illuminating that creative, heart-centered space and where you're wanting to utilize your energies in that regard. It's beautiful energy for you, actually, and I think you'll probably really enjoy that Virgo full moon. It does have kind of some depth with the oppositional Neptune energy. However, a Virgo full moon for you is a really great thing. Then we have the new moon in Pisces in your 11th house, and there is a deep healing energy with your 11th house energy, and that's about your community and the people you're surrounding yourself with. That's on the 17th, and I do think that new moon, plant your seeds of intention about where you're going to be expending your energy with others moving forward this month. And that new moon is going to really help you with that. And then we have the full moon in Libra on the 31st, which is the very last day of the month, second blue moon of the year, and that is in your 6th house of, you know, how you're taking care of your physical health. So here's another theme of you, like, where are you expending a ton of energy where you don't have to? You know, like, there often you guys will expend energy where you don't necessarily have to anymore because you have done the work, you know, or you don't need to do the work. It's somebody else's thing, or where maybe you just need to refine, right? So the full moons are really highlighting where you're spending your energy creative-wise, and then also in your health. And then the new moon is asking you to look over and comb over and plant seeds of intention about your community and your collective and your friendships and your social life. So there's a lot going on with that. Then we have the Jupiter retrograde in your opposite sign of Scorpio, and that is going to just have you just looking at your relationships and where you're spending your energy with other, right? So once again, we're getting a lot of these little slowdown energies, just having you check in on all these different fronts. Check in with your platonic relationships. Check in with your creative work. Check in with your close one-on-one relationships. And then finally, we have a Mercury retrograde starting on March 22nd. So once we get into your 12th house energy of Aries, this Mercury retrograde is also taking place in Aries. So this 12th house energy, prepping up for your birthday, getting right with anything, what the last year has taught you. You know, 12th house energy is very deeply spiritual. It does tend to slow us all down when we get into 12th house energy. It's a great time to breathe. So all of this is calibrating you, right? I know we talked about it being the calm before the storm last month, but I feel like this month is really workshopping, refining your energy, refining where you're expending it, because all the planetary energies are pushing you, not pushing you, they're actually helping you slow down a little bit and look. Just take a second look, take a breath. And I think that's such a great thing for you guys, because I think, you know, you get into the midst of certain energetic cycles, and before you know it, you're deeply involved in it. And this is just allowing you to, like, take a second look before your birthday season pops up and gives you a little bit of a nice cushion to land on. So with that being said, I'm waiting for one more card. We're going to do the classic 3 sets of 3. So we're working our way through the month. I'm really curious to see what's coming up for you, and, you know, not just in the sky, but also in the cards, in the energy, in the flow of the energy, and we'll see what's going on. Oh, and we got 11 cards, or 10 cards instead of 9, so that's really exciting. Let's turn these over and talk about it. Okay, yep. Yeah, you guys have a lot of energy about expending a lot. Here's what I think is going to be going on with you. You're going to be tempted to use up a lot of energy. And you're going to be hitting up against this consistently, and then you're going to be recalibrating. So kind of keep that in mind. I'll show you the first 3 cards, and you'll kind of see what I'm talking about. So you have the King of Wands, the 5 of Wands, and the 3 of Cups. Now, these are all pretty chill, fun energies in a lot of ways, actually. King of Wands energy, here is some fire sign energy, somebody a little stubborn, maybe has a vision or a focus. So you may be working around somebody who has this kind of leadership, authoritative energy, right? In and of that self, it is not, this is a great energy. I love the King of Wands energy. However, you know, it's showing up here with a really varied energetic cycle here, because we have, on the one hand, we have the 5 of Wands, which is very much about a little bit of conflict, a little bit of working something out. You know, sometimes I like to see the 5 of Wands because it allows for there to be any conflicts or issues worked out. So you get that little bit of tension, you have it out, and it helps progress things forward. So there seems to be something going on with the King of Wands, bringing in some of this workshopping any issues you're having, anything that you're working through here. So this could be in romance or in business. You know, there's a desire here for there to be change. There may be a little friction at the beginning of the month, honestly. And, you know, with that full moon, that could definitely be affecting some of that. And then we have the 3 of Cups over here too, which is about jubilation, celebration, fun. So it almost is like, to me, you know, this King of Wands kind of comes with both of these energies. Kind of comes with this maybe a little bit of friction, but also with a lot of fun and a lot of jubilation. It may even be that in releasing some of this frustration on each side, whether it be you, Taurus, or this King of Wands, it's allowing for greater jubilation. So I feel like it's light energy for the most part right there. You know, it will take a little bit of your energy to work through this. It will take a little bit of your time and focus to work through this, because it's a little bit of tension. However, it seems to be giving you some kind of new clarity, some kind of new footing to put your foot forward and get into the world and get into your projects. So that's fantastic. So we start with that. You have a lot of personalities this month that you're going to be working through, like one-on-one. Once again, I feel like that Jupiter retrograde, which is going all the way to July. So that's kind of going to be a little bit of a theme for you. But there's something going on here with you adjusting your relationships to people, because look at the next 3 cards. We have the 3 of Swords, the King of Swords, and the 4 of Swords. Now this to me, more than anything, this is not just about heartbreak. I know for some of you, maybe you are dealing with an air sign and some of this energy is going on and you are dealing with some difficulties when it comes to relationships. However, when I see this here, especially for the Taurus energy, what I see is exhaustion from overexerting energetically in a certain way that causes some of this to happen. Now, once again, we're having another one of these kings that tends to be a little bit focused and like has their own vision of what things should be. You know, the King of Swords does tend to be rational and tends to make wise choices, you know, wants to find the balance in everything, wants to get everything kind of like, you know, smoothed over. There is like that rational, detached ability to kind of look at a scenario and say, let's smooth it over. However, the King of Swords can be really exhausting in that very way. And what I'm kind of seeing here is you guys hitting a wall with that energetically. You know, the 3 of Swords often, to me, it's kind of like when we betray ourselves a little bit emotionally. We write ourselves into the corner of a story where we feel like we have to play a certain role. And I kind of get the sense that you guys are feeling that way, and it's causing you to just need to slow down and take a rest. You know, and that's 12th house energy too. Like I said, once the sun hits Aries, and there's a lot of energy that's going to be moving throughout the month of March into Aries. And then we have that Mercury retrograde starting in Aries. Everything's going to be like asking you to slow down. That's not necessarily a bad thing though, because, you know, if you're having some of this where you're feeling like your heart is a little bit sore, your heart chakra is a little sore from some scenario going on here with the personalities involved in your life, it can be a really great thing to have that slow down because it's protective energy, you guys. And sometimes I think you guys need that. You need a little bit of that protective energy that slows things down to the point where you have to incorporate things and you have to reassess where you're giving and where you're stabbing yourself in the heart. Now, like I said, this does not mean that necessarily all your relationships are falling apart this month. I don't think that at all. But what I do think is going to be happening is you're going to be hitting these little bumps of friction with other types of personalities. You know, fire and air for you are more challenging. You know, they bring with them a little bit more exhaustion for you. It's not the smoothness of like water energy or other earth signs for you. So there's something going on here with you needing to recalibrate these one-on-one relationships and taking the time to do it right, taking the time to figure out why it is that you're needing to recalibrate and what that actually looks like on a practical level. So keep that in mind. And it just kind of continues. I almost feel like there's something going on here with you guys overthinking things a little too much, because we keep getting these cards of like a little bit of friction and discomfort. And look at this. We have the Hierophant, the Six of Cups, and the Ten of Swords. So what is this speaking to? On the one hand, the Hierophant is about structure. It's about committing to something. It's about getting, you know, grounded in something. This is actually a card that's very deeply associated to you. So part of me feels like there is a stepping into your own power here. Like this process of having these conversations and incorporating and pushing through, as we've been talking about this month, somehow leads you to much more of a sense of yourself and the part you're playing in these relationships with these other people, in these creative projects, in what you're doing in the world. You're finding a foothold there. You may even be a very pivotal part. Like people may end up, if you've taken that time and you step back and you said, I can't give there because right now that's not working for me. And you take your step back, you get yourself all centered. People are going to be looking to you in some way here to be that center point. And it's really cool energy. I mean, actually, I'm very excited to see the Hierophant here because this is kind of the wiser energy, right? You have a solidness that other people are going to be looking to. But it's really interesting. We have the Hierophant, but he's hanging out with two very emotionally complex cards. Very complex cards. And that's what's fascinating to me. Six of Cups and Ten of Swords are really heavy. I'm trying to take it in right now because the Six of Cups is this nostalgic love card, right? It's about childhood. It's about deja vu. It's about remembering. It's about deep connection. It's about, you know, emotional sweetness and love. And there's something going on there. Yet there's this exhaustion. You know, Ten of Swords for me always comes with burnout, exhaustion, needing to slow down. A lot of times when you see this card, it's saying you're done with a certain way of doing things. But it's here with this emotionally connected card. So there's a little bit of dueling energies going on here. I think that depending on the relationship we're looking at here this month, some of them are going to be a lot more where you're going to be able to like work through any little knots or difficulties and have it end up be just fine. And some where you're going to have to let it just kind of take a step back, right? But here's the thing. You're going to have to use your wisdom to figure out where you're going to want to get in deeper and give more and where you're going to want the cycle to end. And there are going to be boundaries drawn here, right? This is like, these two roads are very different. And the Hierophant here is having to discern what feels like this beautiful warm energy and what feels like an ending. So keep that in mind. Now, there was a ninth card, or a 10th card actually. And it's interesting because it's the Seven of Swords. Now, you know, Taurus, I love you guys. And I don't think this month is actually that scary. However, you are getting a lot of these challenged cards. Let's admit it, right? Like, I'm sure you all are sitting there thinking, man, why are we getting all these cards? But I think the thing is here, when I see the Seven of Swords, this is getting too in your head, right? This is when you feel like you're not allowed to do something. You know, this is sneaky energy. You know, a lot of times people talk about this like the thief card or whatever. I don't necessarily know that it's about somebody doing something sneaky behind your back. What I do think is that in the fact that you're going to have to discern where you're giving, and you're going to have to discern what you have to completely step back from and what you have to give more to, it's going to make you feel a little bit like you're this guy. Like you're doing something you're not allowed to be doing, and you're sneaking off in the shadows, and it's like, and everybody's going to catch you out for what you really are, or what you're really not giving. Don't fall into that. Because the thing is that, like, there's, you know, these personalities over here, they have their own thing going on. You don't have any need to fix things for them or make things okay for them or make things right for them. You don't have to do that. And they're going to do whatever they're going to do. And the only thing that's going to stand in your way from just like having a really beautiful month is if you feel that you have to somehow play a certain role for everybody. The only role you should be focusing on is really coming into this centered place right here. From here, it will be very easy to figure out where you're giving and where that feels really good, right? Like, look at this. When you're giving to something that feels good, there is a magic to it. There is a sweetness to it. There is an ease to it. When you are giving and it feels bad, there is the desire to go lie down and let everything roll off your back because you're too tired to deal with it anymore, right? Where are you giving? Where is the center point giving? You are being very clearly asked to be very staunch in this. And being very clear. That's the other thing I would say when I have all these swords cards. We have 4 swords plus the King of Swords here, right? Those are all communication cards as well. They're all about the intellectual and communication. The other thing I would say with this energy is this month is going to be a very good month to be very, very clear with your language and communication. If you have a point of contention with somebody or you have a boundary you need to set, this is not the month, especially with that Mercury retrograde, right? The planet of communication going retro like that. This is not the month to beat around the bush or say things in a subtle way. If you have a boundary, you are exhausted, you need to make something clear to somebody, you have to say it clearly. Because otherwise it will get muddled and some weird things will happen, right? So yes, I'm looking at these cards. It's not necessarily the easiest month, mostly because you guys are going to be so tempted to give and you're being asked to learn boundaries. So that's why it's challenging. Just keep an eye out. Keep an eye out for what's feeling good, what's filling you up, and what's depleting you. Just really feel that out. I'm sending you all the best. And you guys, I know that you are probably checking out this amazing gear I am wearing. This crown right here is an amazing one-of-a-kind crown PinkLune made just for me. And here's the deal. We are going to be putting this up in her shop on Etsy. Somebody is going to get to take this home. So I'm going to leave her shop info and the link to this crown below. Obviously, there's only one. This is the one that I'm wearing for these videos. It's going to be sent off to somebody very lucky. So however, there's a lot of other beautiful stuff at her shop, so please check it all out. She's giving you 15% off in the shop, so I'm going to leave all of that info below. Please check her out. Also get in touch with me via email or on my website. I am going to be traveling a good chunk of March, so we'll be looking more at working together in April. However, I really would love to work with you, so get in touch with me and we can work through those details. I am sending you guys all the best for this interesting March, and just remember, you are valuable and you are allowed to set healthy boundaries. I love you guys. Talk to you soon.